Hey everyone, this is Spencer from Complete Unbox Video Games, bringing you Complete and Cast episode 75. Why you can't find new physical releases in stores, and it's not just due to digital. So I like to go online and just see general discussion, whether it's like subreddits for like game collecting or different game stores and stuff like that. And I see a lot of just general grumblings of, people going into a store on a new release day, and the store, mostly GameStops, because obviously it's the big thing around the country, being just sold out of whatever the game is day one. And it's a multifaceted thing that I wanted to break down for everyone and wanted to provide some information that maybe you wouldn't even know unless you're on the store level, like, we have to deal with. So kind of show you all the different sides. This isn't to put blame on really anyone. It's just more to show you why there's a lot of problems that have been adding up to making it more difficult for different retailers to have games in on release day. So let's get started. We got, as you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, we got a decent amount of subjects to talk about. So when I do my research and write this out, I really like to give people, a full-blown argument for this. So the first subject we're going to be talking about is there is more risk for retailers than ever. Now, what do I mean by that? So the first part we're going to discuss with that is games more than ever are coming out unfinished. Online updates, which I believe I've talked before on Complete and Cast, can be a very nice thing. Back in the day in the PS2 era, Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness comes out, and it's a bad game then, it's a bad game now, and it'll be a bad game 50 years from now. Online updates allow publishers to work out, and developers to work out problems that they have with their game, which is technically a good thing, but a lot of game developers and publishers are using updates as much more than band-aids nowadays. So these online updates allow games to release oftentimes completely unfinished. There's many examples: Fallout 76, Assassin's Creed Unity, Anthem. Those are all games that we personally, and again, this is a very small percentage, but I have a feeling it's going to be a similar thing everywhere you look. Those are examples of games that we, as a store, were really screwed on. Fallout, big game, everyone's excited about it. Comes out, huge flop, didn't live up to the expectations, and that's something that is on the stores at that point, which I'll go into further later. Now more than ever, gamers do apply the wait-and-see mentality to new releases, which that's going to lead us straight into subject 2, which is how the wait-and-see mentality makes retailers' jobs more difficult. So due to the rough nature of a lot of these recent releases, customers are, and I do not blame them at all for this, very hesitant to pre-order games. Now, why is that a problem from us on the store level? So pre-orders are how we, as retailers, from Complete Unbox the whole way up to GameStop or even an Amazon level, these pre-orders are how we make our informed decisions on how many copies of a game to order. So pre-orders for us at the distribution level, which is what we're at, they are due well before release. So in our specific case, which is all I can really give you here, pre-orders are due at the absolute minimum 3 weeks before release. For larger retailers, ordering many thousands more copies than we do, I would assume that pre-order numbers are due in even more than that. My estimate's probably 2 months at the bare minimum. So if I'm ordering, let's say 100 copies of Mario Wonder, and GameStop's ordering 1 million copies of Mario Wonder, it just goes, the logic flows that it's going to be due into Nintendo, before that for GameStop. And although pre-orders have become a 4-letter word, a swear word, if you will, in the video game world, it really does help us and GameStops and all that kind of stuff to know exactly how many to order. But generally, gamers are more doing this wait-and-see mentality, wait until the game comes out to order it or pre-order it maybe the day before, and we'll go into that actually right now. So this leads me into video game reviews. So in the 90s and 2000s, advanced copies of video games were often sent to game review outlets, sometimes weeks, if not months ahead of time. That's how you would get Game Informer or Game Pro or EGM, what have you, coming out and having these big exposés ahead of time of, hey, this game is great, this game's awful. They were really given a great heads up on that. It was rare back then to hear about a review embargo. An embargo means that reviews are not allowed to be posted until a certain time. So, for instance, Spider-Man came out on October 20th. If they had a review embargo, they would likely say, you cannot post reviews until October 20th. And generally, review embargoes are a bad thing, and it also generally means the game is not going to be great. It stands to reason, if your game's going to be great and everyone's praising it, you don't care how early that word gets out there. If your game is going to be bad and there's review embargoes, it generally means you don't want that word to get out until you sell as many copies as possible. So this isn't always the case, but most of the time a review embargo means you're about to have a bad movie, game, TV show, what have you. So back then, reviews were generally released slowly throughout the period leading up to the game release, magazines, what have you. And video games, obviously, nowadays take ever longer to complete. Your average game turnaround on a big AAA title, 3 to 5 years, sometimes much more. In 2023, however, it is all about getting the first word out there, not necessarily the most correct word out there, which you see a lot of times with these, IGN or whatever will come out with this review. They'll get it as soon as they possibly can. They'll put the time into as soon as they can because it's all about getting those clicks, getting everything out there as fast as possible. So my quick conclusion on the reviews and why this is troublesome for seeing physical games in store is you have advanced copies becoming less and less common. You have games taking longer to beat to give a good opinion. Speaking of that, I saw on Starfield, a lot of people were saying the first 12 hours of Starfield are not that great, and it gets a lot better. And that's a whole subject in its own right. But nowadays, since these games take so much longer to beat, so much longer, you put so much more time into it, you as the reviewer have to put minimum 12 hours into this. What if someone put 10 hours in and they say, Starfield's just awful, it's mediocre, whatever, and someone put 20 hours in and they get to the good stuff, and their opinion could be completely different on it. You're up against these time restraints, especially with how long these games take to complete. I just finished Spider-Man 2, and I put probably 40 hours into that. And, if you asked me what I thought about it 5 hours in, it would be completely different from what I would say 35 hours in. You have, obviously, the pressure to get clicks on reviews, get those clicks, get the word out there as fast as possible, and an embargo on reviews that won't be public until far after the pre-order window has closed for us. As I mentioned, just to kind of put things together that we talked about so far, pre-orders for us are due at the absolute minimum 3 weeks ahead of time. My distributor and I, we usually have the phrase, if you're ordering a week ahead of time from them, it's not pre-ordering, it's ordering. They already have it in stock. They already know exactly how many they have. They already know how many they have allocated. So at that point, you're not pre-ordering, you're pretty much ordering from them. Speaking of that, let's head over to part 4, which is the pre-order trends, which is something that I've seen a lot over the last 5 to 10 years, and hopefully we can discuss why this is a pretty complex issue now. So first, it is no secret that video game pre-orders have been down industry-wide over the past several years. It's hard to blame the customers for this, as you never know if you'll be paying full price for an absolute mess of a game upon release. That, obviously, I cannot blame customers at all. Why would you put money down on something that you're not sure is going to at least be good? Why are you going to put it on a game that's going to have this huge update over the next couple months to fix the bugs and all that? It's not worth it to pre-order at that point. I do not blame them at all. When we compare, it's funny. So people oftentimes say, digital versus physical, which I've had this discussion before. Digital is definitely a thing, obviously. There's some people that prefer it. My take is there will always be people that want to do the physical, and they prefer that no matter what. And my take as just generally someone who believes in the freedom of choice is I hope that there always is digital and physical. So people have the choice to choose. Do I go for the digital, maybe a little bit higher price, but it's a little bit easier at you, or do you go for the physical, which sometimes is a little bit cheaper in the long haul because you can sell that then. So continuing, a large percentage, I would estimate this at about 50% of our pre-orders, again, just a complete in box, we get within the last 2 weeks or so before release. As previously mentioned, we already have our numbers into the distributor at this point. So at this point, a pre-order is not so much a pre-order as it is, and I mentioned this a second ago, an order, since our quantity is already firmly set with the distributor. So again, if you look at this from, starting at the beginning, if you order from Complete in Box 3 days before release, which I want to say we always appreciate. I'm not trying to poo-poo this at all. But if you pre-order 3 days before release, my orders in at the distributor had to be in 3 weeks ahead of time, and more than likely their orders had to be in at, let's say, Nintendo, straight from Nintendo, 2 months ahead of time. And as we can see, this becomes a problem. This is why back in the day it was pre-order early, pre-order often. I know GameStop has become very annoying. Let's be kind by saying annoying with the pushing for pre-orders and everything, but there is a good part in it that it lets them know industry-wide, store-wide, how many to order for each particular game. So previously, my golden rule, and we're talking anywhere past, let's say, 2018 or so, was to order at least 2 times the amount of pre-orders that we had for a game when final numbers were due. So if Mario Wonder had 25 pre-orders, I would order at the very least 50. Generally, for a big title like Mario, I would do more like 3 times, but my general rule was never ever do less than 2 times because you will have walk-ins looking for it. However, due to so many late pre-orders nowadays, oftentimes I have to take a risk that either A, I order 2 times the amount of the small amount of pre-orders, or B, I order more and risk the game completely flopping when reviews are released and when people, realize how it is. It really is a no-win as far as we're concerned, because I really hate turning customers away within the first week or couple weeks of a game coming out. But no matter how, I try, how much research I try to do, at least once a year, there's a game that comes out that just people are so hyped for, and it just absolutely flops. Again, Fallout 76, Anthem, there's many examples of this, of games that people are just super hyped for, and then instantly it just does not work out. And I have to decide personally, do I have extra copies and take the chance that I take the hit on that, or do I go lower, sell them all, but then have to turn customers away? And that's really difficult, at least for me personally, for that. So let's go into why that is so difficult, which is the cost of new games. So the information I'm going to be giving you is solely from us at Complete in Box, from our level. This does not speak to a Best Buy, an Amazon, a GameStop, or even potentially other stores out there. This is simply us. I find when people know this information of what new games and new stuff cost to us, sometimes they're often very surprised. So our cost on a new $59.99 game is $52, plus whatever shipping. So if you order 30 copies of a $60 game, that's going to be, $20, $25, $30 shipping. This has been the case for at least the last 10 years since we've been around. Distributor cost is actually even worse. Generally buying a $59.99 game for about $45 to $48 per copy. I assume the cost for big retailers is a bit lower, but I can't imagine it is lower than distribution costs, as our distributor brings in thousands of copies. The the way distributors make their money is they make like a little tiny bit on each game, but they sell 50 copies to us, 50 copies to the other store, 50 copies to the other store, and also throughout the country. The way we make money on that is we really don't, all things considered, but we'll go into that a little bit later. New games have, and in fact, I have it written down. I'll go into it right now. God, I love when I write my stuff ahead of time and I start talking off subject, and then I look at my next subject and I go, thanks, past Spenser. So new games have always been a loss leader for video game stores. This has just always been a thing. But you had people stopping in to pick up the hotly anticipated new game. Hopefully they pre-ordered, and potentially trading games in towards the releases. The trading in games towards it is great. We take a little bit of a hit on it right away. The customer's happy because they don't have to pay the full $60, $70. And then we can have those used games that someone's looking for a used copy of whatever can pick up. So they generally call it the circle of life. It's kind of become infamous with GameStop being not so great recently. But it is a truly a thing where that's just how it is, where it really is helpful when you get those trade-ins towards it. You take the little bit of a hit, then you make it up later down the line. Granted, new games in general have always been loss leaders. I mean, they simply have to be. When you're buying something for $60, for $52, and we as a store sell it for, as you guys know, less than $60. We sell it for about $56, so there's about $4 right there. And that simply covers the shipping cost, the credit card costs, the taxes, all that stuff. It's either a loss leader or very breaking even on that if someone is to come in and just pick up the game. One of the biggest reasons why I'm hesitant towards buying a bunch of copies is price drops. Although new releases have always had temporary sales or price drops, the colossal flops we have experienced over the past 5 or so years, again, Cyberpunk, Fallout, Anthem, have caused many more games to price drop quicker than ever. The most important thing to know here is we at the store level are not reimbursed on price drops. So if a $59.99 game, which again we're paying $52 for, price drops to $39.99, we're eating that $10, $20 loss on pure losses. And this may be different for larger retailers. Maybe your GameStops and Best Buys are reimbursed in some sort of a credit type system. We at this level simply do not buy enough to be high enough on that food chain to matter to like a Nintendo or an Ubisoft or what have you. I do want to specifically note that since Nintendo rarely price drops their games, they are by far my favorite publisher. There is a very little chance that their new releases end up making us huge losses. Even if they're slow sellers, Nintendo does not price drop their games. I am not speaking to the quality of games because I'll leave that up to you guys if you like Nintendo, whatever you like. But in terms of simply being a publisher that is good for us, it's Nintendo. It sounds weird, but because they don't price drop their games, I can order more copies and know, okay, a month from now, I'm not going to be out $20 for each of these games, which adds up obviously very quickly. I know that, Mario Kart 5 years from now is still going to be $60 for good or bad. On the good side of things, it means that we're not having to eat this huge loss, and I can kind of overorder a little and go, you know what? It's Mario Kart. People will slowly pick it up. It's fine if we have it 4 months from now, 6 months from now. Not a big deal because it's not going to price drop, and we know that with Nintendo. So by far, they're my favorite video game publisher as far as that's concerned. One last thing to mention about the cost of new games is some distributors have a minimum quantity you need to order for new games. Ours does not, but I wanted to mention this as another reason why you might not see so much out there. Given the very small percentage of profit on each game, it becomes not worth it in order to order a very small amount of a game that might not sell well. For instance, I have as an example a $59.99 game where we get 2 to 4 copies plus the cost of shipping means that even if we sell every single copy, we pretty much break even. And again, that's a big if we sell them all. But again, there's all that risk in there that we previously discussed. There's a risk of a price drop. There's a risk of it not selling. There's a risk of it flopping. At that point, it becomes, well, what's the point? And I hate to say that because I love carrying as much new stuff as possible, but it's got to the point where we as a store, and I'm sure many other places out there, have to be very picky about what we're bringing in. There's the big ones like Mario Wonder just came out. That's doesn't matter. That's Mario. It's going to do well. But there's a lot of mid-tier ones out there that you're just not sure about. So let's go. That's actually one a little bit faster than I expected. Let's go through the conclusions here. So although digital sales certainly are a factor in why you are seeing more and more physical game releases sold out on release day, I believe the most important factors are, and I have the 7 that we went through. One is more risk to the retailer, games unfinished, drops, huge flops, all that. 2, customers would rather wait and see if a game is actually good. 3, reviews oftentimes don't come out early enough to help our order numbers because. 4, pre-orders have been down, and even when people do pre-order, it's within the last few weeks. And 5, pre-orders from game store level are due at least 3 weeks ahead of the release schedule. 6, the cost of new games have always had a very small profit margin. We're talking 10-15% max. And the last reason, the 7th reason, is game price drop. Games do price drop faster than ever before, making a small profit margin even worse. I know this doesn't hit into absolutely everything, but I kind of wanted to. I don't know how many videos there are out there of people being, like open and honest about like why this happens. There are a multitude of other reasons that I would never know of at like a big company like a GameStop or even a local store that has 4, 5, 6, 10 stores kind of thing. But for our single store, it really comes down to this. It's nowadays, if we're ordering a new game upon release, it has to be a winner because otherwise oh my goodness, I know it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point, maybe a little bit less, but Fallout 76, when that came out, it was such a huge loss. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars on something that even in the best of times, we would be like, cool, we made customers happy, we sold out, we broke even, maybe we got a couple trade-ins to kind of work towards the future. But like there's a game every single year, and I always, no matter what, no matter how much research I do, there's always a game that just flops by, and it just kind of is what it is. But yeah, that's like I said, that's the main reason why you're not seeing a lot of physical games in store. This also leads me, and this is a subject I will talk about next time. I was reading a Reddit comment on someone yesterday who said, well, physical is limited, of course, and digital is unlimited, which is absolutely 100% true. Which I always wonder, given that, say, Sony selling Spider-Man 2 straight through their store, why it's $70 physical and also $70 digital for that. They easily could sell it for $60 instead of $70, and they would get just as much money, if not, honestly, probably more, because there's no distribution costs, there's no printing costs, there's no shipping cost. So, and again, there are times where, like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm anti-digital. I have Steam. I get some smaller indie titles that are unavailable. I'm currently very upset because I want to play Alan Wake 2 so badly, but it's just not available physically, and I can't do it. I just cannot spend $60 for a digital game. Many people would have no problem with it. It's something that just bothers me personally, and that's fine either whatever side you're on it. But yeah, these companies could easily sell a $70 physical game for $60 or $50, which would make so much more sense to me. At that point, digital would make a lot more sense because I go, you know what? I'm not going to be able to sell it years down the line or hold on to it or whatever, but I'm paying $10-20 less upon a new release one. They could easily do it, and still make just as much, if not more money. The simple fact that Spider-Man 2, as an example, and I'm not calling just Sony out here, is $70 digitally and physically, is simple greed from Sony on that. There is just absolutely no question in my mind that they could easily put 60 on it and at least give me a reason. Oh, it's cheaper at the very least on that. But that's a subject for another time. I want to do a full write-up on that and all that. So let me know what you guys think below. I hope I explained everything fully here. If you have any further questions, please by all means let us know. I'm always happy to talk the business side of aspects of the small local game store. It's one of those things that I don't think they're ever going away in any sense. And the more people know, I think the more they'll appreciate their local game store, whether it's us or someone else locally, or you're watching across the country or what have you. So again, thank you guys very much for watching. I very much appreciate it. And everyone have a great day. Thank you.